Hello, we're going to be doing cosine and sine graphs. We're going to explain how to graph them, how they're going to translate, and then we're going to have Nolan and Shay explain, do an example. So basically how it's going to look is going to be a times sine, and then inside parentheses, b times x plus c, outside of parentheses, plus d. So what all of those mean, which you're probably wondering, is a is going to be our height dilation. Basically, instead of being 1, if we multiply it by 2, for example, as the a, it is going to become 2 higher. So instead of being 1 right here, that will be a 2. These are our basic graphs for cosine and sine. Sine starts at the midline right there on the 0, and then our cosine starts up at 1, goes down, goes back up. Cool. Back to our what all of our letters mean. B is our period. When we are determining the period, we're going to take our 2 pi, divide it by the b, and that's going to give us our period. Our c is going to be our horizontal translation. If we're going to go right on the graph, so if we're shifting this way, it's going to be minus c. If we're going left, it's going to be plus c. And that's going to be that way on the graph. For our vertical shift, which is the d, we're going to have plus is going to raise it up. So instead of our midline being 0 in this case, if we were adding 1 for d, it would be, our midline would now be 1. Yeah.
Alright, so eventually we're going to be graphing this function, but to start off, we're going to show you how to graph just sine x. So the function would look something like y or f of x, we have f of x as well, sine x. So what you would do is you would start in the center, and what happens is that you have an amplitude of about 1. So you have 1 and negative 1. So if you start here, and for sine you start in the center. First you go there, and you're going to first have your first critical value at pi over 2. Your next one's going to be pi. Third is going to be 3 pi over 2. And your fourth and your last part of that cycle is going to be 2 pi. So first what you're going to do is you're going to start at the midline, which for here is 0, since we're doing the parent function. And you're going to go up to the maximum, then back to the midline, down to the minimum, and then back up to the midline. And this will continue on as you keep going on. So if you just keep on going down the critical values, it'll keep spiraling down. So then this will end up to turn out something like that.
Okay, so first we're going to start off with the amplitude, which is a, which is 2, because we have to take the absolute value of that number in front, which the absolute value of 2 is equal to 2. Now, then we're going to look at the period. We need to find the period. It's 2 pi over b, and b is pi. So it's going to be 2 pi over pi, which is equal to 2. So that is our period. Now we're going to look at our horizontal shift, which is x minus 1. So you got to set it equal to 0, and then get x by itself, so that's x equals 1. So that is our shift now. We're going to move over x by 1, which means these change to 1/2, pi is 1, 3 pi halves is 3 halves, and this is 2. Now we have to look at our horizontal dilation, or horizontal shift, where we go up 1. So that makes us 2, and that makes this negative 2 because of the amplitude. But since we're going up by 1, this needs to be 3, and this goes up to negative 1. And with we got to get our things set, so our horizontal shift at 1 would be here, and our vertical shift would be at 1 as well, so it would be here. Then we start the graph basically from the parent graph. So it's moving over 1, so we're going to start here. Our the first point starts here. Then we have to go up to 3 because of our dilation or our shifts, which is here. And we got to go back to the midline, which is here. And there should be a number over here, but then you go down here. Yeah, down here. And that would be your graph.
All right, the most interesting thing we learned in class was polar functions, and
The thing you definitely need to do is study for that AP test.
make sure you're paying attention in class.
Do your homework on time. For reference.